Welcome back to more Kirby and Forgotten Land. Last time, we made it through the Forgo Wasteland, so this time, we're moving on to the penultimate stage, Forgo Zone. Alright, so we need to find the final 51 pieces of Leon's soul here, and in general, I don't think this will be too bad. I don't remember having too much trouble with this particular stage, except for maybe one soul piece that took me way longer than it should have to find. But then again, because I don't really remember where a lot of them are, that might create problems, so we'll see how this goes. We have this little tornado sequence where we can easily fly over to pick up the soul pieces without having to like risk flying over and falling. Also, this makes it a lot easier to cross the lava as well without having to actually fly. You're also moving now, so that makes things a little bit trickier, especially with the falling lava around us right now. It does feel like the hitbox for these collectibles is fairly generous. Like, I don't think we were lined up entirely, but they do kind of like home into us if we get close enough, so it is fairly generous at least. Alright, so let's climb up here. Before the door, there's actually one right over here, kind of sneaky. And there's also a path of star coins going down, so let's actually head this way to find a treasure chest. So hopefully this will be the last set that we need for this area. It is, so we're good to go. Now we just have to make our way over to the exit. This screen gave me way more trouble than it should have, especially because I can actually see the soul piece I missed from here. So it's not as hidden as I originally thought it was, which is good. We have cannons and these little spike enemies, and we have a chili, I think is what the ice enemies are called. I actually kind of want to stick with Tornado of the two choices. Ice would be helpful for getting across the lava, but I still would prefer Tornado. Ice is not a bad ability. Again, there are very few abilities in this game that I feel like are not that viable. I don't think any of them really. Maybe some of the base stage copy abilities may not be the best. But once you start evolving them, I feel like every ability has merit. But again, because we haven't really upgraded much, I'm kind of just sticking to the ones we have upgraded. I thought I missed something, but I think we're fine. I think I was thinking of this pathway over here. There's little sparklies over here, which break those blocks to allow us to climb down. I'm assuming this will take us to, yeah, more soul pieces. So far we're at 12 out of 51, which is not too bad. Is it here, or is it, like, the next corner? I think it's the next corner. I'm gonna just wait for the cannons, especially with this enemy in the way. Ow. I definitely transformed out of Tornado way too soon. But this gave me way more trouble than it should have. I went by this one so many times and kept missing it. I'm actually doubling back a little bit because I still feel like I'm missing something earlier on. I almost feel like Tornado has less invincibility than in other games, which I guess makes sense because otherwise it's very broken. Yeah, I was forgetting one. I'm glad I remembered that, because then the same situation would have happened as in my first playthrough, just with a different one, where I would just go back and forth through the level trying to remember where everything is, and also missing one that's like barely hanging off the stage. They are fairly sneaky at this point. This is the final regular stage of the game, so it makes sense. Like in the main game, you basically have like main stages, and then you have like Lab Discoverer, which isn't like a full stage. And without getting too ahead of myself, it's kind of structured comparably here as well. So yeah, that's why I say this is kind of like the last like full stage, if that makes sense. This is a little bit risky, having to dodge that enemy there really quickly. I'm not sure if I really want Cutter for this, but we'll stick with this for a little while. Cutter is actually pretty alright in this game. And again, part of the reason why I never evolved this is because I actually kind of prefer Chakrams to the Buzzsaws. We'll get into why I don't like the Buzzsaw Cutter at a later time, once we go through that challenge, and I'll definitely have some things to say about it then. And yeah, even though this is the last, like, full main stage, that doesn't mean we're anywhere close to being done with this playthrough, because we still have, like, a lot of treasure roads to get through, as an example. Alright, so we have a problem. I am missing one, and because I got the one I knew I was missing originally, this creates a situation where I have no clue which one I'm actually missing. So yeah, this is like the beginning of the stage, so it's probably not here. Again, camera control is fairly limited, so I don't think it will help us that much. And yeah, this is kind of like what happened originally, where I just had to keep going up and down the spire, trying to figure out which one I was missing. I might have to do these like metal blocks there, actually. I want to say we're able to break those? Or is that in the regular? Nope, that's this stage. Yeah, I missed that, so that should be the last one, so we're good to go. Didn't get set back too far by having to double back for that one, thankfully. This is not the best stage to miss something on, because it can kind of take a while getting through all the cannons and enemies. Enemies seem to respawn fairly quickly, which is not uncommon for a Kirby game. It is good because you sometimes will need a copy ability for something, so it makes sense, but it can be a little bit annoying when having to backtrack for something. But we made it through. Alright, so we're moving on to the power plant. No Howl Room to worry about this time, at least. Alright, so that unlocks that underneath the crusher, because of course it does. Can't be that easy. Again, you can actually go on top of the crushers, which can help a little bit. Obviously not a ton, because you still have to collect things like under. I feel like these also move a lot faster than they did originally, which isn't great. Yeah, I remember this area being a little bit tricky. Can we actually use Cutter? We can. Okay, so that's good to keep in mind. So this was actually a very good call, it turns out, to be able to pick things up without actually having to go underneath the crushers. This one we might have to, because I'm not sure if the Cutter will actually reach that far. It does, so we're good. I probably should have waited instead of running for that, but oh well, we got the food. I really needed the heal, but it would have been counterproductive if I had taken a ton of damage trying to heal. I wonder if I can use that to open the door longer, or if this is even the switch that will close. Yeah, kind of is not actually a bad choice for this. I think Bomb would also work well if you roll it in such a way that the conveyor will carry it. I think that would also be really helpful. I haven't really shown off Final Cutter very much in this playthrough, partly because I almost feel like, because of this being a 3D game, I actually kind of prefer not relying on like close quarters combat, and tend to prefer using like ranged attacks when I have an ability like Cutter. But yeah, Final Cutter is still very good, I'd say. But I personally have trouble like lining up how close I have to be to get it to actually work. So I tend to just use the regular like projectile attack. This is also another stage. Also, you can't use Cutter to pick those ones up, interestingly. This is another stage where I'd hate to have to backtrack because of like all the crushers. I feel like it would just take a long time. We have a blue star coin up here, nothing else. I'm surprised there isn't like a soul piece there. And we're at the boss area. Also, I think this is kind of like where the roller coaster was, if I'm remembering right. So we have one enemy here that actually has a soul piece. So we get one basically for free. Actually, it looks like we get most of them from these enemy fights, but I'll definitely want to check the area a few times to make sure I'm not missing anything. Again, I feel like this is not a great place to forget something for a reason that'll become very apparent shortly. I'm actually kind of glad we don't have to fight the bosses, though. We've already fought them so many times. That's not necessarily a problem unique to this game. That's a Kirby problem. Especially, I'd say Star Allies has it set up really poorly, because you have to go through, like, the ultimate choice, as it's called in that game, so many times to unlock, like, the true arena, and then they added another level to the true arena. In this game, having the true arena unlock at the halfway point, with like the early stage, I think was actually a really good call, so you could do that early on, and not get burnt out and fighting the bosses constantly, if that makes sense. Like if, say, the Coliseum unlocked after clearing the stage, or clearing the game, but you could only do like the first level with the first 6 bosses, and then you had to do the 12 boss variant like immediately after, it would actually get old really quickly, and I almost feel like that's how the ultimate choice was kind of structured in Star Allies. But yeah, I do feel like this game actually does have several good design choices like that, opening up things in the overworld at a really good pace in such a way that yeah, you don't need to necessarily go through like the same like boss fights too much, but there is still some repetition with boss fights. And again, it's partly just because it kind of feels like there aren't a ton of enemies in this game, which is kind of a shame. Alright, so we have another roller coaster. I like how the roller coaster has the Meta Knight mask. I actually hadn't thought about that before. Alright, so we have 5 of these little gems to collect. I'm actually going to intentionally take damage from time to time, deliberately, because I want to make sure I can pick up everything. Again, at the end of like roller coaster stages, there's always a retry option through a warp star, so if you do miss something, it's not the end of the world, you can go back for it. But I would prefer to get this in one go if possible. I think the next switch the next gem is coming up pretty soon. There's number 4. Alright, so all that's left is number 5, which luckily is not on the path. Something I've actually neglected to talk about is that certain Alpha Mode transformations actually also have taunts. The roller coaster is not one of them, though. Alright, so we collect this, and then we don't have everything. And that's because there's this little hidden area that's not required in the main stage, but is required for the Isolated Isles version. So that should be the last soul piece. This made me really worry in the same way that the Forgo Bay tripped me up. I was really worried that I missed something on the roller coaster, but luckily I was just missing this over here, so I don't think I had to go through the roller coaster twice, but I think I might have anyway, just to be on the safe side. Alright, so we're done with this area. And we have a bit of a unique situation, because Redgar is the one world that actually has 5 stages instead of 4 stages. So it does work a little bit differently because of that. We have a mouthful mode water balloon right here. I don't think this one has a taunt either. I'll try to show them off if possible. I feel like this actually will show off a few different transformations, but I actually can't remember if I'm correct on that or not. Now let's clean off all this. See if that does anything. It looks like we got a soul piece anyway, but hey, worth checking. Oh, I see what the gimmick is. It's another one of those like in the Alivo Mall staff side, where we need specific transformations. So yeah, I think this will be a good showcase of the different like emotes and taunts. Alright, so let's break this. So that should give us more soul pieces, or at least one, and a heal, always appreciated. Now we have a ring mouth. So Kirby will do a little spin. All of the emotes for the mouthful mode transformations are the same. There aren't like unique ones per direction, like with like non-mouthful mode Kirby, so don't have to worry about that. So yeah, this is just kind of like a little gauntlet of all the different transformations. I actually feel like this game does a good job with utilizing abilities throughout the adventure. Like, there are puzzles that use copy abilities that kind of extend to the very end of the game in a way that I actually find very impressive, because I almost feel like it's a problem in games with this many abilities that sometimes you get to a point where certain abilities kind of disappear towards the back half of a game, but I feel like this game does a good job of actually bringing back abilities throughout. You know, like the different mouthful mode abilities, the different like regular copy abilities, and so on. So yeah, I think that's something this game actually does really well, is incorporating everything even into like late game stages. So this one also doesn't have a taunt, sadly. Alright, we have a double fight this time against Wild Frosty and Florina. Luckily we are a vending machine, so this won't be too difficult. Let's try to actually defeat Florina quickly before they can perform their tornado attack and then take out Wild Frosty. I feel like this game also has a lot of mini-boss rushes, which also kind of highlights how this game really could have used a few more mini-bosses, but again, it's not usually too bad. This is kind of scary. We have to drop down as a vending machine and make it into that hole in the wall, like so. Obviously, if you missed the jump, that's not great. Luckily, we made it first try, and looks like we have 5 more pieces to go. And I'm actually starting to worry a little bit that I missed something, but I think I'm actually okay. Let's drop down here. We have a fight on top of a Tortilding, so that's kind of unusual. Alright, so that's 42, so that means we have 4 more to go, and I don't know where they all are. I think one is going to be a cluster and one will be standalone. So if we have like one more shadow enemy, I think we'll be fine. Otherwise, I have no clue where the last one would be. Because I want to say we're getting close to the end of this area, so I hope it's actually tied to defeating the Tortilding. Otherwise, we might be in trouble. Alright, we have Cone Mouth. If we taunt with Cone Mouth, we'll do a little spin. I actually don't know what the car one is. I think that's the only one we won't see here. Alright, so this should be the last set of souls for this area, meaning all that's left is to defeat the boss. Yeah, I think Car is the only one that wasn't here. Alright, so it looks like we have another fight with King Dedede. No fire, so I'm a little worried, but we'll try it with Meta Knight Sword. The Illusory Primal Nemesis Phantom Forgo Dedede. That is kind of a mouthful. This is what I was thinking about earlier with the stage actually tilting. So yeah, I was actually confusing the two fights between like regular King Dedede or Forgo Dedede and then the Phantom variant. I do like a lot of these Phantom fights, to be honest. He definitely turned up the intensity quite a bit while still maintaining a lot of the core like essence of the fight, if that makes sense. Like this is still just kind of like an evolved version of the same fight, but introduces enough like unique gimmicks to kind of like spice it up, if that makes sense. A lot more aggressive, but also just having, you know, unique attacks as well to help make it feel very fresh. We still have a maximum tomato, so we're not in any danger or anything. But I definitely want to play it a little bit safer than I'm currently playing it, especially because, you know, Dedede originally did have 2 health bars. so we need to be a little careful. I actually need to dodge roll more. I think there's actually a unique counter for certain copy abilities like Sword, so I need to actually use that more. Yeah, this fight is no joke, and I actually like that. Again, while I do feel like this isn't like the hardest like boss in a Kirby game, it's definitely challenging compared to what we have seen so far. We're getting close to the point where I'm willing to use this Maximum Tomato, which means I'll probably want to buy another one once we get back to town, just to be on the safe side. It is weird though in the main mission how there's actually, or main stage, how there's a mission for dodging the fire and another mission for not taking damage. Those feel a little bit redundant, though to be fair, you could get hit by a different attack by D, and that wouldn't count. So we're using the tomato just to be safe. I don't really want to go through this fight with Needle, even though Needle is very good because D does drop a ton of stars, meaning you have a lot of projectiles to use against him. I'm not used to fighting anything with Needle. It's not a case necessarily of I don't think Needle's good, it's almost a case of like I don't know how to use it effectively. It's like, when I played Robobot, for example, I remember there's a specific strategy for True Arena that involved like a specific copy ability like Archer or something. And everyone's like, this strategy is like the most broken strategy in the game, and I was not able to make heads or tails of it because I didn't use Archer enough to know what the strategy was. I might be thinking of Triple Deluxe though, to be honest. I don't remember which game had Archer. Yeah, there was a definite case of like, this would be good if I knew what I was doing, but I've like never used this ability, so I don't know what I'm doing. Almost there. Just a few more hits and we will be good to go, but D definitely is not willing to go out without a fight. Almost like a Hypernova from Triple Deluxe. Alright, looks like one more hit will finish off this fight. It's just a matter of actually landing that final hit, which is easier said than done. And with that, these should be the last pieces of Leon's soul. All 51 collected here, bringing us up to a grand total of 300. Piece of Leon's soul. After their fight with Kirby, IDF-86's body was destroyed, but their powerful mind survived. They fled to the isolated isles of their own dreams and brought Leongar with them. To prepare this new vessel, they cast out Leongar's soul, shattering and scattering it throughout the realm of Forgo dreams. You have collected all the pieces of Leon's soul. As proof of your courage, you've earned a special figure. Leon and Carol. These two were the famous leaders of the animal kingdom, until Leon found IDF-86. After that, he began speaking in a language Carol couldn't understand. She only speaks in meows, and formed the Brutal Beast Pack. She still believed in him, so she formed a new identity of her own and followed along. The pieces of Leon's soul you collected are shining in the direction of their owner. You can sense Leongar on that forgotten, isolated isle. Hurry and help him. With the figure, we actually collected in the stage being the Soul Piece figure. I actually don't know if that's fixed or not. It was very fortuitous if it wasn't fixed, because that obviously gave us an explanation of what's happening. And again, that kind of goes back to a problem I have with this game. I do wish more of this was like in the older Kirby games and were displayed on the pause menu like during boss fights. Same with the ability descriptions. I don't think they should have been through figures, they should have been on the pause screen, because frankly most Kirby games have done it this way in recent years. And also it creates a problem of you might not even get the figure that would explain everything. So yeah, I almost prefer the old style, but again, it's very fortuitous we got that when we did. We need to get ready, because we have a huge fight ahead of us. So, something worth mentioning is, well, for one, we have present codes left to find. I think we used the Thank You Kirby one behind the statue, and we used the one on the wall back here by Waddle Deliveries. There's still plenty more to find, we'll go over that at a later time. I do like how Elflin will remind you just to be on the safe side. But we're basically moving into the final battle, so if you don't feel entirely great about going into this fight, and it is actually very difficult, keep in mind that you can buy attack ups, you can extend the duration by buying more, and you can buy an extra health bar. We also will get a figure by doing that, like buying stuff at the cafe. I'll do that later because I actually kind of want to fight the next fight without power-ups. Welcome, what can I get ya? Maximum tomato, got it. That'll be 100 star coins. Would you like to eat this here, or take it to go? Thanks. You'll hold your to-go order as a stock item. When you need a pick-me-up, hold down X. Alright, so we have an extra heal, and we obviously want to heal up as well. Obviously, I could buy more items to power us up, but again, I would kind of like to try this fight without, like, without any major items, to see how this will go. But I think we're as ready as we'll get. All that's left at the Isolated Isles is saving Leon. I'm not scared because I've got you right by my side, Kirby. Right? Right. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for more Kirby and the Forgotten Land.